Good morning.
Good morning.
Do you ever feel like you play it small? That you don't step into the shoes that you could? Recently, someone mentioned to me, I got a message that that I could take up more space. And that got me thinking, what does that mean? How do I and do I not take up space? So today I want to talk about fear. Fear as our greatest enemy and also as our greatest teacher. I'm going to tell you a story and give you some things that you could use right away today. So first I want to tell you a story about growing up. Maybe you can relate. Do you recall being like a preschooler, maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, and playing outside? Outside, that was a wonder world, wasn't it? I can remember, I don't know if you grew up in the city or if you grew up in the country or in the suburbs. I was growing up in Glenview, and we had just plants in our yard, no grass. So there was always a lot going on. And I can remember the critters, the little creatures as a child, because you were so short, you were right at their level. And early on, we learned some to be fearful of. Spiders, they could bite you, and certain bugs that moved really fast, or mosquitoes that made you itch. But then there were other like little critters and creatures that were safer. My friends and I, we liked caterpillars. We liked the idea that they were going to become butterflies or inchworms. There was a little bug, I don't know if you've ever seen this when you were a child, but it was called a curl-up bug. So it's just a little scaly thing, probably half an inch. And when you poke it, it curls into a ball and it can roll around. And I remember thinking, just even before starting kindergarten, that bug's afraid. I think that was my first realization that animals could be afraid. It fascinated me because when you're small, at first you only think about your feelings and, the people around you, but then you start to notice the larger world, don't you? And I began to study the other animals. And they did it too. They had fear. Even turtles, like a turtle will tuck in its arms, its head, it'll try to like curl its tail in until it sensed it was safe. Ferns are plants. Some ferns, when you touch them, they retract. And so I kept learning that there was reason to be fearful. And then I wondered, well, wow, should I be that way when I'm afraid? Should I curl up in a little ball or hide? And then I wondered if that worked out so well for animals. As I got a little bit older, I learned that the hedgehog also curls up into a ball. So does an armadillo, which has such a scaly armor, you wouldn't think it would have to do that. And how does it work out for them? Not always that great. A bear, a coyote, and a wolf can attack an armadillo while it's balled up and still have it as prey. And a hedgehog, while it's curled up, can still be attacked by a fox, an owl, or an eagle. So the coping mechanisms for our fear don't always serve us. They're not always successful. So we need to really look at this thing, fear, and how we react and what we do when we feel it and experience it. I was thinking about this and how, I don't know about you, but sometimes I can flinch when someone takes a tone that seems kind of harsh or terse or, you know, and sometimes someone is busy and it doesn't have anything to do with it. Can you relate to this? But you might feel like retracting. You might feel fear that something will happen. So what I wanted to do is figure out as a child and then growing into an adult and even here today, what we can do with the knowledge that sentient beings and ourselves need to take that fear and transmute it. What I know is that fear isn't necessarily our enemy. It can be an enemy if we always have a reflexive reaction to it. If we always run, we always hide, we always decide not to try something. I think most of us can relate to feeling a sense of uncertainty, to try to apply for a job, to try to make a friend, to try to take a class or try a new skill, because we're afraid. We're afraid, what if we try it and we fail? That can feel worse to some of us than not trying at all and staying in our safe zone. Just putting a label on ourselves. That's not for me. I can't do that. I don't have those skills. But like I always say, but what if you do? What if you do? Is it possible to take this enemy of fear that stops us, that halts us from even trying, and it separates us from our faith, that we can be safe around other people's energy and situations, and make that a turning point? Can we? Is that possible? It is. It's possible, and I find I have to do it all the time. It's not just when I got a message that asked if I want to take up more space, I can. And then I had to reflect on that. It's every day when I make a decision to do something, go somewhere new, talk to someone new. I have to decide if I'm uncomfortable, what's that about? And I have to push past it if I want to get somewhere and get things done. And so do you. You do it all the time. You can take the behavior of reflexively flinching and feeling fear. It's a habit. The habit of feeling separate from faith, that you're safe. And you can transition it into a big enemy and just make it something that's a friend, a teacher, a tool. And what I think you will realize if you try it is you will be amazed how small that fear becomes and how it shrinks and gets so tiny once you just try. Just try. Just a little, just peeling little pieces back of the thing that is making you feel stuck or that you don't want to deal with. If you just do little things around it, just get comfortable pulling little threads of it. It's like the witch in Wizard of Oz with the water thrown on them. Melting. It goes away. It shrinks. It becomes doable. So I've been doing this all year. I thought I did it last year, but I'm doing it in different ways this year. that when I get that poke of fear as my enemy, as something that makes my heart race and I don't want to deal with something, that I'm thinking of it a little bit differently, and you can too. You can think of it as a poke. It's poking you to say, I'm here, I'm feared. And if you want, you can give it, you can picture it as something like, I don't know what you want to picture it as. I might picture it as a little snake with a slithery head coming up to say, hey, you can't do this, you don't want to do this is too hard for you. And when I see or feel or sense that kind of snake or that fear, I can say, hello, I see you. I know what you're trying to make me feel. Am I remembering at this moment that you're not in control of me, that I am not separate from courage, and that courageousness is infinite intelligence, and that I don't have to walk separate from infinite intelligence and courage and feel like just this little slimy, scary thought is in charge of me, and it's just me and this thought, and I'm just going to let this thought run me. No. You are walking separate from infinite intelligence and courage when you do that. You can walk with courage and infinite intelligence. That's always there for you. That's your will, your free will. So when you feel that and sense that, you can ask yourself, use it as a reminder, am I calling on my guides? Am I asking my people in spirit, come with me? Are you here? And they will be known to you if you call them. So fear is our greatest enemy when we allow it to shutter our world, when it makes us into hedgehogs. But as a human being, I'm going to do better, and I'm going to walk with courage. I don't want to hold on to fear anymore. I don't have to. Because the suffering that comes is just that feeling of separation, and it doesn't have to be that way. Of course, there will be other things besides a snake. There will be the news with all its fear tactics. And what you need to remember is the news tries to scare you as much as possible because it sells ads. So it wants you to tune in and stay listening, stay watching, to make money off of your fear. But as Lakota spiritual leader, Fire John Lane Deere said, Wankan Tonka, great mystery, teach me how to trust, so that I may enter my sacred space and love beyond my fear, and thus walk in balance. That is a great reminder today to know love beyond fear and be in that sacred space of balance. You can feel balance in your own sacred space, walking with infinite intelligence in your courage. So I'm going to challenge you to keep finding your courage and to thank fear when it shows its head, to teach you to remember to call on your spirit people. Whether it's a word like God or Great Spirit, the divine infinite intelligence, they're there for you. Meditate on them. Feel grateful that they're there to help you. I have one last story. It's actually by someone you all know, Dr. Maya Angelou. And it's actually more of what she said about this topic. And I'm going to read it because her words are so precise that there is no paraphrasing. Dr. Maya Angelou told the story of how she brings everyone who has ever been kind to her with her when she really needs them. She talked to them in her mind, saying, when I go into a room, I bring everyone who has ever been kind to me with me. Black, white, Asian, Spanish speaking, Native American, gay, straight, everybody, I say, come with me as I get on that stage. Come with me. I need you now. Long dead, you see. So I don't ever feel I have no help. I've had rainbows in my clouds, and the thing to do, it seems to me, is to prepare yourself so that you too can be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. Somebody who may not look like you, may not call God the same name you call God, if they call God at all. You see, I may not eat the same dishes prepared the same way you do, may not dance your dances or speak your language, but be a blessing to somebody. That's what I think. And that's what I think. Thank you.